What is up, guys? My name is Nick and welcome back to another Modern Warfare 2 video. Today we're going to be looking at some settings that you guys should be changing in game to stop making your game look like this and start making it look a lot more like this, which in my opinion is a lot nicer. The other way is pretty ugly. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about those kind of things. There's a lot of things that people don't know to change in their settings in order to make it better, how to see enemies easier, and pretty much just make the game work in your favor. So we're going to get into all that kind of stuff today. We got 5 tips we're going to go over, and the one at the end is one that isn't really in the game settings, but it's something that everybody should be changing, everybody could change, and we're going to get more into that at the end. And a lot of people always tell me, Nick, your game looks amazing, your game looks super colorful, super nice, how do you do that? Well guys, it's pretty simple. I'm going to show you guys exactly what I do, and hopefully you guys can get your games to look amazing as well. Now let's get into it. Sorry for that little interruption. So the first thing I want to talk about is actually going into the settings itself, and I believe it is in the graphics settings on the quality page, if I'm not mistaken. It might be in the display page. I don't think so, but I think it's in the quality page, and that is, yeah, there it is right there. So it's the world motion blur and the weapon motion blur. I'm going to show you guys something here quickly, and if let's say we turn those on right now, yeah, let's just turn it on and see what the game's gonna look like. Once you're turning around like this, it's really hard to see enemies. Let's say there was someone in that window there, right? Let me kill myself. My frame rate is always horrible when I first join a lobby. I don't know why, until I kill myself. It's weird. So let's say you're playing the game and you're running around. You're not gonna see an enemy with all that blur. That is a crazy amount of blur. And as you guys can see, the frame rate drops with it too. So let's say you have an enemy in that window right there, and you start shooting at him. Even your weapon blurring around like that looks horrible. You definitely don't want to have that on. And let's say you're moving around and you're just running like this and like that. The blur is just gonna mess up your screen so much, cause a lot of tearing and whatnot, and it looks horrible. So make sure to turn that off. And especially the weapon motion blur as well. It's pretty ugly. I'm gonna make sure I turn that off before I actually forget. Just a little bonus one here. You might want to turn that film grain off as well, all the way to 0. The other one is over here in the interface. You're gonna want to go right there, and then you're gonna go all the way down to the mini map shape. And what this has is a circle mini map or a square mini map. I think by default it's set to circle, so if you're still playing on a circle minimap, you want to make sure to switch that right away, because if you guys can see, the edges of the square minimap are not visible whatsoever on the circle minimap. There's a lot of area that cannot be seen on a circle minimap. So we're going to set it to circle or to round really fast here, just to show you guys something. Look right there at the map, okay? We're going to go somewhere where it just barely shows the outside of the map. All right, look at the little red part on the minimap. You can barely see it. It's barely visible. And then just going into the settings here and into the interface settings and putting it back to square, it's going to show so much more of that area. It goes all the way up, and you guys can see that right there, and it does that all across the map. So make sure you're not playing on circle or round or whatever. Play on square. You can see so much more. And with that being said, you also want to keep an eye on that compass. It not only tells you what part of the map you're actually on, but it also tells you where enemies are shooting from. The minimap will not show red dots, and a lot of people keep forgetting this. The compass does show red dots, okay? So if you see someone shooting right there, let's say at 60 for example, you know they're straight ahead of you. You see someone shooting at 75, just line yourself up with 75 right there, and you're going to know that they're right over there. You see someone at east, just line up with east, and they're on the other side of the wall right over there. So it's really easy to follow that compass. It might seem a little complicated at first, but trust me guys, get used to following it. The minimap should be where your eyes go secondary. You should be looking at the compass, minimap, back to the game, look at the compass, back at the game, look at the compass, back at the game. And when you want to know where your teammates are and where enemies may be, because if there's a part of the map where your teammates aren't, there's probably a good chance there's a lot of enemies there. That's when you look at the minimap itself. So it's really changed. A lot of people can't get used to it, and I don't blame you guys. It's not something that I could get used to that well either, but the compass is going to help you guys out a lot, so make sure you look at that. Another one is back in the display settings. What you want to do here is go to the brightness. Now, a lot of people, they get this game, they're like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to throw this all the way to the max. The game is going to look beautiful. And then you do that, and the game looks like this. It's horrible, all right? Don't set it to 100. Don't set it near 100. Don't do anything like that whatsoever. What you should be doing instead is actually listening to what it says. And what you want to do is where it says not visible there, you want to make sure it's actually not visible at all. So for me, it's like right there. It's still visible, but barely visible. And then that barely visible, you want to actually make it barely visible. So for me, it's 55. This seems to be a good number. It works for me. It's pretty nice. I could even go lower if I really wanted to, like this right here. That would probably be the best for me, at least on my monitor. It says right there 48. But the thing with 48 is once you actually look into like dark corners and stuff like that, if there's an enemy there, it's going to be kind of hard to spot him sitting in that dark area. So what I like to do is just put it a little higher than what the suggested is. So that barely visible, just make it a little bit more visible. You want to see that Call of Duty sign, and then that easily visible, it doesn't have to be super easy. So I like this right here. 55 seems to be perfect for me, and at least if someone's sitting in there, the brightness is still high enough where I'd be able to make the person out sitting in that corner. It wouldn't be too hard to actually spot that guy. So I like that right there. And now one more thing I want to talk to you guys about. Let's leave the game here. This is outside of the match. We can't do it in the settings, and that is actually in the perk packages. So what I noticed, one thing, a lot of people like to run ghosts so they could not be seen on the minimap, but the chances of a team having UAV up constantly is not that high, and sometimes you being visible on the minimap is good because you draw the enemies to you, and if you're a good player you could actually kill them. What I like to throw on instead is bird's eye. Now bird's eye is great because I'll read off exactly what it says here. The minimap is zoomed out, so you see even more of the minimap. UAV and radar pings reveal the enemy's direction, so it's going to show you what direction the enemies are coming from, so you could align yourself perfectly to shoot them once they come around that corner or anything. And on earn, it activates one local UAV sweep. So the minute you get it, it activates a UAV sweep. You see the directions of the enemies, and it also zooms out the minimap. So let's say your square minimap, this is what you could see originally. Now you can see this much of the minimap, which is crazy good for a perk. And in my opinion, I prefer this perk over Ghost. A lot of people might not use it. A lot of people might like overlook it and stuff. But for me, it's way better than actually running Ghost. And then there's some other stuff that can help you out as well. Like I like Cold-Blooded because you can't be targeted by AI and stuff like that. It's pretty nice, but there's a lot of stuff that you guys can mess around with in the perks, and stop trying to use the same perks that everybody else is using. Use different stuff. Like for myself, Bird's Eye works way better than Ghost. I get way more kills, and I feel like I stay alive longer with it. So go ahead and do that as well, guys. Now let's get into the last actual tip here that I want to talk to you guys about, and this has nothing to do with in the game. This is going to be on your TV or your monitor. What you want to do is you want to set that saturation up to a nice number, and it doesn't have to be oversaturated. Your game doesn't have to be like insanely saturated or anything like that, but you want to get those colors to pop just a little bit more. And the reason you want to do that is because you want those reds to really show. You want the color red to be very, very, very visible. And the reason for that is because the enemies only have a little red dot on top of their head. They have no name tags, nothing along those lines. So if you could get that red to be very visible, it'll be a lot easier to differentiate an enemy. If there's an enemy lying on the ground and you think it's a dead body, it happens to me all the time, this is going to be good because you'll be able to spot that red. It's going to be bright, it's going to be in your face, and it's going to be great. Now, another thing that you want to do while you're in your TV or your monitor settings, if you have the option for this, not everybody has the option for this. Saturation, everyone could change, but this one's kind of goes with the monitor, I'm guessing. I don't think many TVs have it. Some might. I don't know. I don't play on a TV. But you want to set it to game mode. And the reason you want to set it to game mode is because it makes the refresh rate a lot quicker, which means your FPS, not your FPS, I guess, yeah, your FPS, sure, but the refresh rate, like how long it takes for the game to show you, I can't really explain it, all right? I'm horrible at explaining it. Let's just say the time, whatever happens in the game is going to happen on your screen pretty instantly, okay? There's going to be no like 5 millisecond delay, 10 millisecond delay. I'm horrible at explaining that, but you guys get what I mean. So that's going to make the refresh rate a lot quicker, but in turn, it's going to make the graphics a little worse. So it's kind of like it's a win-loss situation. Your graphics get a little worse, but you get to see everything a lot quicker. So when you get into gunfights, like I always say, those milliseconds help in Call of Duty, and you really need to have those millisecond advantages against enemies. But yeah, it's gonna be it for the video. If you guys did like it, make sure to drop a like on this one. We're gonna go for 1,000 likes on this video. Sub to the channel if you guys are new around here. We're getting really close to my goal, and I would truly appreciate if you guys could help me hit that. And let me know down in the comments below if you have any other settings that maybe I didn't list on this video. Let me know that as well down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. My name is Nick, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.